Hello and welcome to Travel Nurse and Allied Life podcast, brought to you by TravCon. And here we are. This is the first episode we get to do after the 2021 TravCon conference in Vegas. And we have two really cool guests today. We have Em and Ryan. These are the co-founders of a new tech app called MedVenture. And I'm Laura Latimer. I'm the host of this segment of TravCon's podcast. This one is all about technology and the trends and where we're going in the future. So Em and Ryan, they were at TravCon this year, so I cannot wait to hear about their experience at TravCon. But also, this app is something really different and really unique. So I'm really grateful that they're building it, and I cannot wait to hear the behind-the-scenes scoop of how it's all going. So hello, Em, Ryan, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah,
thank you for having us.
You got it. So MedVenture app. I think, Em, you're the one that had this brainchild, right?
Yeah, it had the seed was planted into my brain. Yes,
it was planted into your brain. That's awesome. And I guess first of all, let's just hear big picture. Your one or two sentence. What is MedVenture? And then I want to hear about how you came up with the idea of MedVenture.
Sure. So MedVenture is the app to unite traveling healthcare professionals, all travelers. So that's basically like our tagline, but we just saw the fact that the traveling industry is very segmented and we wanted to unite everybody under one umbrella. So yeah, that's our main goal.
I love it. We are segmented. We're all over the country. We're all different specialties. Yep. And you want to unite. And is this like a social app? Is it a political movement app? How do you unite us?
So we always say it's like a social and community app to empower and find connection with other travelers in the area that you're at. Because oftentimes traveling is very lonely. And if you don't meet anyone in orientation, you're screwed. So we created something where no matter how small the city is, you can connect with someone in that small city or in a city bigger right around you.
Oh, so good. Okay, so Em, how did it come into your head? What made you think of this idea in the first place?
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in New York, and for my first assignment, I went all the way across to California. I went coast to coast, and on my second assignment, I was in San Francisco, and I had experienced really bad loneliness on my first contract, and then I was in the middle of my second, and I thought that going to a big city like San Francisco, I would be able to connect with the traveler community more, and I was still having trouble. So I was experiencing loneliness and just wondering, why isn't there a better way to connect travelers? There was only just like orientation or on Facebook, or if you happen to stumble upon someone on Instagram. So I was doing this mentorship, and it was really just me coming to realize that I really love the traveler community and wanted to help unite everyone under one umbrella. But then I was originally going to do a website, and then a friend that's not even in the medical field was like, why don't you do an app? And I sat on the idea for 6 months because I was so overwhelmed by how to even create an app coming from, my nursing experience and background. And so going up to September 2019, Ryan and I met at TravCon. It was both of our first TravCons together. And Ryan came up to me and said,
"Hey, are you M. Chang?" From Instagram.
Beautiful opener. So M. Chang, she was like a little like Insta famous. You knew her from online. So you were like, wait a second, I know that face. Okay, so you went up to her. Mm-hmm. Cool. And then what?
And then I said, are you a Guam guy? Because he was known for traveling in Guam. And I didn't know any travelers at the time that had traveled to Guam. So I thought that was so cool. And I think we had like spoken back and forth about like that experience. So yeah, we were like acquaintances and saw each other like here and there at TravCon. And then a couple months later, so that was in September, and November, I started validating my idea because I was like so inspired, empowered by TravCon. And I was like, okay, this is so great. How do we make this happen all the time, all over the country? And so I started doing customer discovery. And I remember that Ryan had tons of travel experience. And I was like, he would know if this was a good idea. So then I called him up, and he was the first person that I did customer discovery with. Oh, wow. And I was explaining this to him and stuff. And he was asking me where in the process I was. And I was like, honestly, I'm looking for a business partner if you know of anyone. And by the end of the conversation, he was like, I would love to invest and be your business partner. And the rest is pretty much history. So we've worked together for 2 years now.
Oh my God. That is so wild. That's the first person you called just to get feedback, and you end up with a
Yeah.
business partner.
Yeah, it was really crazy because earlier that week I'm kind of woo-woo, so I was like manifesting. I knew that I didn't want to do this alone because I knew it'd be hard to do nursing and also build this startup by myself. And so I was talking to someone I was doing a mentorship with, and I was like, okay, these are the qualities I want in business partner, and I'm just gonna like put that out into the universe. And then yeah, this first call with Ryan later on in the week, I was like, oh my God, he almost like landed right there, and I was like, wow, they're protecting me up there or something.
Yeah,
Like, it
no,
was really cool.
I'm all about the woo woo, especially when it works. You're like, cool,
Yeah.
that's great. Oh, how exciting! So, so you guys met at TravCon. You had this conversation and decided to do this together. And then, what are y'all's backgrounds? And what kind of nurse are you?
Yeah, so I'm primarily CVICU. I've been a nurse for 6 years and then traveler for 3.
Oh, right on. And then Ryan, what about you?
I've been a nurse for 11 years now. Gosh, I lose count. I've been a traveler for going on 9, so I've been all over.
Wow. Oh, that's so cool. Okay. So now here you guys are, two nurses, two travel nurses, and you say, we're going to start a tech app.
Mhm.
So first, I can't wait to hear the story of how you even go from an idea with no tech background to having a tech company. But before that, I want to get a good visual for myself and also for the listeners who might not have seen your app. So let's just say they get on their phone, they look up MedVenture, and it downloads. What is it like? Because it sounds like it's a connection app. It could potentially connect you to other healthcare travelers in your general area, but how does it do it? I would love to hear more. Yeah, hear a visual since this is a podcast. Yeah.
So yeah, after you download the app, you'll create your profile, and then it'll take you to the main screen. Currently, we have 5 main functions on the app. The first is meet people. So when you set up your profile, you'll put in your likes and interests and your location. You can also change your location at any time, but it'll match you up with travelers in your area with the same likes and interests. You could either choose to message them or go to the next traveler. And there's meetup and events where either you can host a meetup or other travelers host meetups, or we even have agencies and local businesses host meetups. So you can attend. And honestly, that's been like one of our biggest hits within the app. And then there's community discussion on housing, things to do, food and drink. And then there's read and rate hospitals. So you can rate your hospital on your experience to either warn or encourage other travelers to go, or you can read other verified travelers' reviews on the
Oh, how
hospitals.
cool is that? And do you guys have quite a few users now? So if someone is in an area, they'll probably be able to find people on the app at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have over 4,100 users right now. We're growing pretty rapidly. This is a steady growth, but now after TravCon, obviously it's rapid. And we are having people having meetups almost all over the country, and people are meeting everywhere. So
Oh,
it's
that has to feel so good to have created something that's making real life connections. Like real humans are meeting up because of something y'all thought of and created. That's got to feel really good. So congrats on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you
So
so much. Yeah, I think Ryan and I are like really big into like human connection. I always think like we're like the glue for travelers. So we like to just like, I mean, I think before MedVenture, we were both like people who like just bring travelers together through events and stuff. And then now we can do it on a bigger scale. So it's really
yeah,
cool.
yeah, that's great. And so it sounds a little bit like a dating app style thing. Is it actually swiping like a dating app?
Yeah, so we kind of designed it like that, like kind of like Bumble BFF is what we compare it to.
Okay.
But we have had several MedVenture couples out of MedVenture app. And yeah, there's a possible future for a MedVenture date. We'll see.
That's
Yeah, but it's
We'll get
still,
into that later.
yes.
whatever connection people want to find, they can find it on there. So, yeah, we'll explain a little bit more about the future.
For the future. Oh my God, that's so cool. Okay, so I have a pretty good visual of it now. So I'd love to step back into the shoes before it was built. How did you guys go from the idea? You had that awesome call that you ended up with a business partner, M. How did you go from there to today to actually build the app?
Sorry.
Sorry.
I think honestly, the first thing we do a lot of Googling, but then also with that, we know how to get connected with like a network. So we just like get in the rooms with the people who've done this before. We know we're not the first people to create apps, create technology. And so we went to a lot of like founder events, especially here in Seattle. So we had done an assignment here. So we went to some entrepreneurship events and just started like picking the brains of people who've been in our shoes before. And then we also did 2 accelerator programs back in the winter time. And so that has been really helpful to build our network and just, like feed off of other entrepreneurship's ideas. And I always say that like you don't need to know like every single step of the way, even though we have a vision and we don't know what the middle is going to look like. You just have to know like what the next step is, and then you'll just figure it out. So I think that's been really helpful for us. Even though we don't know all the pieces, we just trust that it'll just like reveal itself, or we'll figure it out.
It sounds like a traveler, a true traveler. That's kind of what we do even when we get an assignment. We're like, we kind of know what we're doing, but we trust that we can figure it out when we get there. We might end up with housing. Let's see what happens.
I just want to piggyback as well. Like one of the first things we did is we did a friendship contract, and we also did a morals and values. So we each wrote down morals and values that hold dear to our heart, and we kind of shared it with each other. And then we said that we'll call each other out if our health is ever taken for granted by the business. And I think that's been like really true to our friendship and business relationship throughout this. And I think it's a really good, important first step for people to do if you have a co-founder.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that before. That is such a clever idea. Yeah, very wise too. And then for those of the listeners that might be inspired right now and listening, they might not know what an accelerator is. Can you just kind of explain what that means when someone does an accelerator?
Yeah, so an accelerator or an incubator, so they're programs that will take either like a seed idea, or you're already a startup business, and they'll help you like either set the foundation or really help to accelerate the growth of your business by connecting you with either funding or a network of people or whatever it is. Or sometimes it's a competition as well at the end of the accelerator, but they basically help you get connected to all the resources that you need to be able to build and accelerate your program or your business. So yeah, it's been pretty cool. We've done 2 here based out of Washington, and they've been really helpful. And it's been cool to see how other people, even if they are not in the healthcare field, how they're building their businesses. And we just like share what's working, what's not working, and have that support system has been really helpful.
Yeah. Oh, good. Great. Okay. So let's say you're going to give advice to yourselves, your past selves, when you guys were just getting started, you made your friendship and values contracts. Now, give yourself advice. What would you say? Hey, guys, look out. Don't do this. Or what would you say? This was the thing to do. You should do it faster. What would you say to yourselves?
So I would say, first off, get a mentor in the area which you're growing your business from. That was a huge help for us, is to have mentors you can rely on that don't seem aggravated when you call them or aggravated when you email them. Just a healthy mentor that is very invested in you and your company. Most people that have been in our industry for a while, especially tech, they want to help entrepreneurs start. So I would say start off with that. And that's like and honestly, you don't have to be perfect. Like that was hard for both of us. We always wanted to have everything lined up in ducks and be perfect, but then we were like, you know what, we're just going to launch it and figure it out along the way. And I think that was hard pill to swallow for both of us, is not to have everything lined up before we launched and stuff. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that, I do think that you work on this so hard, and I think the biggest thing with entrepreneurship is like, how do you just like reiterate really fast? How do you like fail super fast, learn the lessons, and then move on, take the feedback? All that is so constructive. And for us, yeah, it's just being able to like check your ego and be like, okay, like these are all good things. Even if it's like a negative thing, it's still going to help the business. It's still going to like give us direction to go in. So how do we like not take it personally and just like move on to the next, to just like better this product that's helping to support travelers?
Yeah.
And I think maybe like for me, if I were to do this again, I would probably bring on a tech person, because I do think like we've both learned so many lessons, and it's been so scary to just not know exactly what people are telling us, or if we're trying to like hire a contractor or a team, like what to look out for and what to be mindful of. And so I think if we were to do it again, we would definitely have a tech person on our team to start off with, because that's definitely in the direction that we're going in. But to start off, I mean, I always like tell both of us, like, we should be really proud of launching a tech product without having any tech experience because like there's so many startups that don't even get off the ground, and we were able to put like a working product on the market
Uh-huh.
despite us
It's
not
a huge
having a tech background.
accomplishment. Huge. Yes. Oh, that's great. And so, okay, I want one more piece of the founder's brain. So let's say I'm a traveler, I get on MedVenture, and your like vision of like the traveler experience, what are you hoping that they do? Is it something that they would come back to every week to check the new meetups? Is it kind of a one-time thing for a while and find some friends and come back if you're lonely? Like, what's your image of how often someone would use this app? That you're imagining? I know you cannot control what the users do, so it could end up being something different, but what's your imagination hope that they do?
We obviously want to just create something that will provide connection to our travelers. We don't care about how often they get on it. Obviously, more the better. But we don't want it to be like where you're stuck on the app, kind of like Instagram and Facebook. We're not a social media platform like that where you get that dopamine or serotonin release. We
Mm,
just really want people to find connections and like log in to see what meetups are around them, and be informed about the hospitals they're going to, because before, without hospital reviews, you don't know what you're walking into.
mhm.
So however often the user wants to log in, we're happy with it. But we obviously, you'll be more informed and empowered and make more connections if you log in more often rather than just sign up and don't log in
Hmm.
for months at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like we really are trying, or I guess our goals are to really like crowdsource all the information from travelers because we are like in this like-minded lifestyle, and everyone does have like a little bit different of experiences. So if everyone can just like crowdsource their experience to empower one another, that's really the culture that we're trying to build within our app.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Well, I know I'm excited. I have downloaded it once, but I haven't like logged in and made a profile yet. So if you're in Austin, you'll probably see me swiping you soon, guys.
We
Okay.
have a big community in Austin. So I was just in Austin and we did so
Oh,
many meetups, and they're continuing to do meetups there. So
oh
you
my
should just
goodness.
go. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm
It's
coming
fun.
from you for you guys. That's so exciting, actually. How awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to hear about your first experience as MedVenture with the booth. How was TravCon this year?
It was a lot. I mean, I think it's such a different experience coming as an attendee versus like working as an exhibitor. And so we had so much support at our booth, and it was funny because like Sunday night or Sunday we're setting up and we're just like comparing ourselves to like all the big, all the big businesses, and here we are as like little startups at our first one. We were very nervous that our booth like wasn't gonna look aesthetically pleasing or really like draw people towards us, just because we're so scrappy right now. But I think we've been very grateful to like one, get donations from so many different companies that support us, to be able to do like raffle giveaways. That was like a really big draw. And then I think us not being an agency and having something really different
Mhm.
really drew a lot of people towards us too. We were just like very interactive, I think, with our booth.
Yeah, and it was really humbling for me, at least. A lot of travelers came up and said, "I met my best friend. I met my boyfriend on here." Like, it was really good experience to like meet our users, because
Mhm.
with the tech industry, you don't get to meet them; you just see their online profile. But to hear stories of how they met their best friend and how they're thriving at their assignment, that's the whole reason we got into this and made an
Right,
adventure.
for
Oh, wow.
sure.
You get to actually hear the impact you're making, like a real true
Yeah,
impact on people's lives. Oh,
Mhm.
that's
exactly.
great, guys. Awesome. And then the future. I want to know about where is this going? And you can share whatever you want, like your big dream in 10 years or what you expect in the next year. But I'd love to hear where you'd love to take MedVenture.
Sure. So we're currently rebuilding the app right now, adding some new features. We did a lot of customer discovery with our travelers to see what they want and need.
Mhm.
So without saying everything, a MedVenture date is going to be part of the new one, so people can date off it. And we're kind of just revising the whole look and feel of the app and kind of making it more interactive and more supportive. We're also going to have traveler resources on there, so niche specific services that are like serve our user database. You'll get a discount being a MedVenture user, and you can use it. So stuff like that. But our overall goal, honestly, is to just be the hub for travelers. The hub, all in one thing. Hopefully, we can have housing someday. Hopefully, um,
Oh,
Yeah, just an all-in-one thing. So you don't have to have all these different apps. Just one central spot.
Mhm.
yeah. Well, that's awesome. I completely believe in you guys and am inspired by you guys. And also just proud of how far you've already come. It's very, very impressive. And I know how much work you do every day that no one will ever see in the wee hours of the morning that you guys are doing. And so I'm thrilled that it's changing lives and making a difference. But thank you guys for putting this out there and putting the hard work. I know you guys can go to MedVenture on your phones to get the app. Is there any other shout outs you want to give of where else they can go to maybe follow you guys on Instagram or different things like that?
Yeah,
Yeah, for
sure.
sure.
So go ahead.
So, yeah, you can download our app both on iOS and Android. It's available for all phones. And then also, yeah, our Instagram handle is MedVenture app. You can find us on YouTube at MedVenture app. You can also join our Facebook group as well as like our page on Facebook. Those are our main. Actually, we have a TikTok too. We'll be creating some more content on there. So,
Oh, I can't wait
We
to see
also
those. Ryan, are you going to be dancing?
yeah, I mean, I've already done one.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I also just want to say, if feel free to reach out to us anything. Hello at midventurefortravelers.com is our email. And also, I don't think we mentioned the app is completely free. We always want it to be free for our travelers. So, yeah, we any feedback, anything. If you're having a hard time with your assignment, reach out to us. We can be the virtual shoulder to cry on.
Mhm.
We're here for you guys.
Yes, yes, so great. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on the TravCon podcast. And everybody, we'll see you next time on the podcast. And definitely give Em and Ryan a hello or a follow. And everyone, have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks for listening to Travel Nursing and Allied Life. You can find the full show notes below or at travcon.org. Please help us out by rating our podcast on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a comment below or email us at podcast@travcon.org.